What's up, everybody? I'm Apollo, your host of Late Great Game Reviews. For this week, we're doing Far Cry 3. Good game. I'm not quite sure I'm as sold in it as a lot of other people are, but it's definitely a great game. It is a great game. Story is pretty basic. The main character is Jason. He and his friends are on a trip. They're skydiving. They end up crashing on an island that is unfortunately uninhabited by pirates. They get captured, and you basically start as Jason. And the idea throughout the game is to, rescue your friends one by one, learning survival skills as you go along. And there will be some minor spoilers in this review. So if you don't want any spoilers, you should probably turn this off. But there won't be any big ones, promise. Alright, so essentially, yeah, so Jason is rescuing his friends, and you see him sort of transform throughout. As the narrative goes along, it's quite interesting to see him transform from this kind of right out of college rich kid who's a daredevil to this kind of he really does become a killer, and he becomes a warrior. And I don't want to spoil again. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's a real transformation across over the course of the game, and it's a little disturbing to watch, honestly. And the transformation isn't entirely cohesive, mainly because we don't get to see beforehand, earlier on in the game, we don't get to see him being irresponsible or feeling like he doesn't belong, or like he's not grown up. And that because once he makes that full transformation into a warrior, a lot of the people around him kind of comment that they've been waiting for him to grow up for such a long time, but he hasn't until now, and now he's doing it in this way that's where he's killing people, and it's not cool. But alright, let's get past that. That's the basic story. A lot more happens to that. Trust me, it gets pretty nuts. The main villain in the game is a guy named Voight. I wrote his name down. I can't remember his... Not Voight, sorry. Hoyt Volker. That's his name. Hoyt. Weird name, but that's the main villain, and the one you get introduced to first. The other villain you get introduced to first is this guy named Voss. He's essentially the loose cannon psychopath enforcer guy who does pretty much a lot of Hoyt's dirty work. There's some pretty intense scenes. The game in general is pretty intense. It definitely keeps you on your toes. Combat keeps you on your toes. The battles with enemies are never predictable. Another part of the story is that you're rescued after you first escape from Voss and the pirates' clutches. At first, you're rescued by these people known as the Rakyat, who are the inhabitants of the island, the natives of the island that you're on, and they're trying to basically somehow get back the power of the island from the pirates. But that's tough because the pirates, they got plenty of guns. Hoyt's doing drug trafficking, sex trafficking, anything that makes money, he's doing it essentially. So it's basically this guy you meet, he of the Rockhead people, he kind of sees some potential in you and as a warrior, and you kind of start going down that path of the warrior, and that leads to some pretty insane stuff, hallucinations, lots of different things. It's pretty interesting. I mean, the story is simple, but it's quite compelling, and it definitely you really do want to keep going, because you don't know how it's gonna end. You don't know what's gonna happen to Jason with his girlfriend, with his other friends. You just don't know, and it really, the game is compelling enough to keep you going. There's plenty of stuff to do in the game. I mean, besides the main missions, you have so many different things, really cool things actually. I mean, one of the things is the radio towers. There's radio towers all over the island. Each radio tower that you're able to climb up, and each radio tower does get more complex and pretty it gives you a sense of vertigo sometimes to climb up. But each time you climb up the radio towers and basically turn them on, you get another section of the map revealed. You get and the cooler thing is that every radio tower that you unlock is it gets you free weapons in the store. So you can actually, and this is what I did, is I just unlocked so many radio towers that you can just get all the guns in the store for free, and you don't have to pay for anything, and it's really amazing. I mean, these aren't just small guns, handguns. We're talking about, you get handguns, you get assault rifles, you get rocket launchers, all that good stuff, and it's really, really cool. There's also this other thing where you're taking out enemy camps. There's tons of pirate camps across the island, and that's another activity called liberating the outposts. That in particular is my favorite, simply because every single outpost is different. The enemies react differently, there's different types of enemies, and each one has an alarm. So you can actually take those out, like either up close disarming them, or you can shoot them hard enough with a sniper rifle or something, and disable them so that the enemies can't call for reinforcements. But yeah, I mean, to give an example how different how different the outposts are and liberating the outpost activities, an example would be one outpost might have 3 snipers on the roof, 8, no, it's not usually 8, but like 5 guys on the ground and maybe 2 dogs, right? And 1 alarm. Another outpost might have, and I have encountered this, no snipers on the roof, 3 guys on the ground, 2 alarms, and 10 dogs. I had an instance where I was coming around a corner, I had my gun out, saw this guy, I was about to mark him. I see this little sensor bar which shows, the vision of the enemy, and it fills up once they can see you, and suddenly there were just a horde of dogs coming at me. It was terrifying, but yeah, I really love those. Those are really, really fun. Yeah, really, really fun, always different. And there's so many of them. I think there's like 34 in the game altogether, and they're always different. The enemies react different. Like I said, you get different enemy types. There's also some of these outposts and other areas in the game where the pirates will have like animals caged up. I don't know why they would cage them up. I'm going to talk about the wildlife in a minute because it's really great, but they'll have like tigers or something, caged up, and if you shoot those cages, the tigers will attack, and they'll attack everything. Some games, they'll just attack you, but they won't attack the animals. Will attack you, but not the AI. Not with Far Cry. I have literally sat down, about to attack a camp, saw a tiger's cage, shot it, and then had the tiger take out the entire camp for me, and then it's liberated. It's great. But of course, you gotta stay away from the tiger, because it will come after you, and that brings me to the wildlife. The wildlife on Far Cry 3's island is amazing. I mean, it really feels like a living ecosystem. You go around the island, and you'll see, there's all sorts of things. There's Komodo dragons, there's goats, there's birds, there's tigers, there's foxes, there's all sorts of animals. There's sharks too. I mean, you'll see, 2 Komodo dragons just, chase after a goat, or you'll see, a couple of birds on the ground fleeing from a fox, and you'll see all these different things constantly as you're going through. Not to mention all these sounds in the jungle. The jungle really feels alive, like you're actually in a jungle, and it's really quite amazing. Yeah, I mean, the wildlife is always there. It is always there, and again, it will attack you or the AI. But that brings me to my next point. The crafting in the game is, you can, if you want to hunt the animals, you can hunt the animals, and based on what you hunt, you can make say, I think you can make like a bigger wallet to hold more money from like 1 pig skin, or you can make like something. I don't remember exactly what but it was like a holster or something by skinning like 2 sharks and getting their skin. Yes, skinning sharks. You can do it. It's very weird. pretty damn terrifying. You basically, I mean, I'm sure people at this point have found better ways to do it, but the way I did it was I essentially stood on the shore, waited for that, classic Jaws shark fin to come at me, and I, just took aim, fired, and dove, and if this shark will sink, you'll dive down, skin it somehow underwater, and get out as fast as you can before another shark eats you. And I've done that, and it's really fun. But yeah, you got crafting system, so you can craft wallets and larger wallets, larger rucksacks, weapon holsters, ammo holsters, a ton of things from animal hides that you can get around the island. You can also craft things from the plants that you find around the island. You can craft medicine. You can craft hunting like concoctions. You can a bunch of different concoctions. One being hunting, like for instance, for hunting you can have like animal repellent. So any animal that comes near you, it won't attack you for a certain amount of time. That could give you an advantage, or you could use it to your advantage with some enemies. Whatever you want to do. There's other things like combat enhancers, like combat things that you can make, you can craft, like enhanced perception, where you can essentially it describes it as you see enemies through their smell, and you see like bombs and chemicals from their the fumes. But essentially, what happens for you is you see the enemies through the walls. You see the bombs, and it's pretty cool. And there's a lot of different. You can craft so many different things. It's really great. Store system is pretty basic. Again, I didn't have to use the store that many times because I got the radio tower. But you go to merchants, or you can do it on the select button and get to. But you know what? Let's not talk about this.